You know, there's a lot of noise out there about dating. Everyone has an opinion. Your friends, social media, even strangers online telling you what to do, how to act, and who you should date. But the truth is, all that advice, most of it doesn't matter. What matters is understanding one simple reality. Dating isn't about tricks, games, or impressing someone. It's about clarity, self respect, and connection. And if you get this one thing right in 2026, you won't need another piece of advice ever again. The first thing you need to understand is why most people fail at dating today. It's not because they aren't attractive or successful or kind. It's because they don't know how to manage their own emotions, their own expectations, and the energy they bring into a relationship. If you're constantly chasing validation, if your confidence is fragile, if you're scared to say no when something doesn't feel right, the dating world will drain you. You'll attract people who reflect your insecurities back at you, not your value. So, the first rule, call it your foundation, is value yourself first. This isn't just a cliche. This isn't something you read on Instagram and scroll past. I mean, truly know your worth. Stop settling for someone who doesn't prioritize you, who doesn't show up emotionally, or who treats you like an option. In 2026, if you master this, you've mastered dating. It's that simple. When you know your worth, your energy changes. You stop chasing, you start attracting. The second piece of advice is clarity over confusion. So many people enter dating with a foggy mind. They don't know what they want, yet they give pieces of their heart to someone they're not sure about. Stop doing that. Be clear about your deal breakers, your non negotiables, your emotional needs. If you don't know what you want, you'll waste months, even years, with people who aren't aligned with your future. And the most painful part, you'll blame yourself for failing in dating, when really the failure was in not being honest with yourself from the start. Now, let's talk about communication, because in 2026, it's going to separate the relationships that thrive from the ones that crumble. Emotional intelligence isn't just a buzzword, it's a skill. It's about saying what you mean without fear, listening without judgment, and holding boundaries with kindness. If someone is toxic, dishonest, or unavailable, no amount of charm or patience will fix it. Protect your energy, protect your heart. Speak your truth even when it feels uncomfortable, because that's how connection deepens. And here's a truth no one wants to hear, but it's critical. Your patterns matter more than the person you date. If you consistently attract people who break your heart or treat you poorly, the problem isn't always them. It's the signals you're sending, consciously or unconsciously. In 2026, pay attention to your choices, your patterns, and the type of energy you give out. Self awareness is your dating superpower. The moment you recognize your patterns, you can break them, and suddenly dating stops being frustrating. Next, let's address timing and patience. People rush relationships because they fear being alone, because society says you must settle down, or because they're obsessed with instant gratification. But connection, real connection, cannot be rushed. If you're dating in 2026, understand this. The right person will meet you at your pace, not your panic. Stop swiping endlessly out of boredom or loneliness. Focus on quality, not quantity. Learn to be comfortable alone, because the better you are with yourself, the better your relationships will be. Here's something many overlook. Your physical and emotional energy matters more than your appearance. Sure, attraction is real, but the magnetic pull in modern dating isn't just looks. It's emotional stability, confidence, and authenticity. People can sense insecurity from miles away. They can sense desperation, and they can feel when you're not being fully yourself. So in 2026, stop performing. Stop pretending to be someone you're not to get attention. Be genuine, be playful, be vulnerable. Ironically, the more you let yourself be real, the more irresistible you become. Now, one of the most overlooked but powerful pieces of advice: stop over explaining and over investing. In the age of constant texting, reels, DMs, and endless social media validation, people forget that mystery and self respect matter. You don't owe anyone an explanation for every feeling, every thought, every delay in response. Protect your time and your emotional bandwidth. Healthy detachment is attractive because it shows that your world doesn't revolve around approval. It revolves around purpose and value. Let's talk about red flags and intuition. In 2026, your intuition will be your best dating tool. Don't ignore those little alarms in your gut when something feels off. Stop making excuses for behavior that doesn't align with your standards. Toxicity rarely starts as obvious abuse. It starts subtly in small dismissals, in vague promises, in disrespectful energy. Learn to recognize it early. Walking away isn't failure, it's preservation of your future self. Another truth: emotional availability is the ultimate currency. People crave someone who can show up fully, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And it's a two-way street. Don't invest in someone who isn't willing to meet you at the same level. In 2026, relationships will thrive when both people are fully present. Anything less is a distraction, not a relationship. And let's not forget fun, humor, and playfulness. Emotional connection isn't just about heavy conversations and vulnerability. It's about shared laughter, adventures, and joy. Don't take dating too seriously. Don't try to control every moment. The right connection will make even mundane moments feel alive. If your relationship feels like a chore, you're with the wrong person. Finally, remember this: dating isn't the goal, growth is. Every person you meet, every interaction, every heartbreak, every awkward date is a mirror. It's showing you who you are, what you deserve, and what you need to work on. Approach dating with curiosity, not desperation, with awareness, not fear, with patience, not panic. So here's the reality: if you take just one thing from all of this for 2026, let it be this: dating works when you know your worth, communicate your truth, respect your boundaries, and refuse to settle. Everything else, advice, trends, tricks, are distractions. When you live this truth, dating stops being exhausting. It becomes empowering. And the right person will meet you not by chance, but because you've aligned with your own value first. In the end, dating in 2026 isn't about following rules or strategies. It's about being the kind of person you would want to date. Invest in yourself, honor your standards, and embrace clarity. Everything else will naturally fall into place. Now, let's get real about digital dating, because in 2026, it's unavoidable. Swiping, messaging, liking, it's all part of the modern dating landscape. But here's the truth most people don't talk about: digital connection is a reflection of real world energy, not a replacement for it. You can craft the perfect message, use the perfect emojis, or respond at the right time. But if your energy is insecure, desperate, or unclear, no algorithm can fix that. So stop obsessing over text tactics. Focus on your presence, your vibe, your energy, because that's what truly attracts people offline and online alike. And speaking of energy, emotional bandwidth is everything. Many people dive into dating with exhaustion, stress, or unresolved past baggage, expecting someone else to fix it for them. But the truth is, emotional readiness is your personal responsibility. If you bring chaos, confusion, or drama into dating, that's exactly what you'll attract. Learn to process your emotions first. Heal what needs healing. Settle into your own peace. Only then can you engage in meaningful, lasting connection. Let's talk about boundaries, because this is where most people get it wrong. Boundaries are not walls, they are the lines that protect your energy and your heart. They are not negotiable in a healthy dynamic. If someone crosses them repeatedly, it's not about giving second chances endlessly. It's about recognizing patterns and valuing yourself enough to step away. In 2026, respect for boundaries is no longer optional, it's essential. And the beautiful thing, when you honor your boundaries, you attract people who honor theirs. That's how chemistry becomes compatibility. Now, here's a tricky one, letting go of attachment to outcomes. So many people date with a checklist, obsessing over, will this lead to marriage? Or is this the one? But the truth is, the moment you attach to an outcome, you start forcing things. You compromise clarity for fear, you tolerate behavior that doesn't align with your standards, and you lose the joy of genuine connection. The power lies in being present with who you're with, without needing them to be perfect, without needing them to fit a preconceived mold. Trust your process, trust your intuition, and trust that clarity will guide you to the right person when the timing is right. Another layer of dating in 2026 is the illusion of options. Social media and apps make it seem like there's always someone better just a swipe away. But here's the danger. Constant comparison creates fear, indecision, and emotional burnout. Stop chasing the illusion of endless options. Focus on quality, focus on alignment, focus on the person who sees your value and chooses to meet you there consistently. That is where true love, trust, and loyalty begin. Let's dive into emotional pacing, the art of giving and receiving in the right rhythm. Many people fall into extremes. Either they overshare too soon, drowning the connection, or they withhold too much, creating distance and confusion. The key is balance. In 2026, emotional pacing is about gradual vulnerability, about allowing trust and intimacy to develop naturally. Don't rush someone's heart. Don't pressure your own heart. Let the relationship unfold like a story, chapter by chapter, with curiosity and care. And here's something revolutionary. Stop trying to fix people. So many fall into the trap of believing they can change someone's behavior, attitude, or emotional availability. But here's the truth. You can't. You can only change yourself, your responses, and your boundaries. People grow when they're ready, not when you demand it. The more you try to fix, the more you drain your energy and compromise your worth. Instead, focus on finding someone already aligned with your values, someone whose growth complements yours. We also need to talk about consistency. In 2026, dating isn't about occasional grand gestures or sporadic attention. It's about showing up day after day in ways that matter. Emotional consistency builds trust. Physical consistency builds comfort. Intellectual and value-based consistency builds alignment. If someone is hot one day and distant the next, it's not a romantic mystery. It's a sign of misalignment. Consistency is quiet power, and recognizing it early saves heartbreak. Now, let's touch on something subtle but critical: nonverbal cues and energy communication. Words are only part of the equation. How someone moves, listens, respects your time, and mirrors your energy says more than text or voice ever can. In fact, if you ignore these signals, you're likely to fall into patterns of misinterpretation, disappointment, and wasted effort. Pay attention to energy, presence, and alignment. They are far more honest than promises or sweet words. And here's a modern reality check. Dating in 2026 demands self-sufficiency. No one else can complete you. No one else can heal your insecurities or validate your self-worth. People who date expecting this will constantly face disappointment. The person you're dating should add to your life, not rescue you. When you're whole on your own, you enter relationships from abundance, not neediness, and that energy is magnetic. Another truth: empathy is powerful, but discernment is essential. You can be kind, understanding, and supportive without tolerating disrespect or repeated misalignment. Many people confuse patience with weakness. They confuse compassion with compliance. In 2026, emotional intelligence isn't about bending over backward. It's about reading situations accurately, responding wisely, and protecting your boundaries while still being human. And finally, remember that dating is a mirror for your personal growth. Every connection, every heartbreak, every triumph shows you something about yourself, your needs, your fears, your strengths, and your patterns. If you approach dating as a journey of self discovery rather than a chase for approval, your entire perspective transforms. The pain becomes lessons, the joy becomes wisdom, and the people you attract mirror the growth you've achieved. Now, let's dive into something most people completely overlook: the power of pacing in your own life while dating. Many people think that dating is all about the other person, but the truth is, your own rhythm matters more than theirs. If you're constantly available, constantly bending your schedule, constantly prioritizing them over yourself, you're sending a message: my life revolves around your validation. And that's not attractive, it's draining. In 2026, the smartest strategy is simple: live your life fully and let your dating life fit into it, not the other way around. And here's a subtle but transformative secret: the energy you give out is the energy you receive back. If you enter every interaction anxious, needy, or seeking reassurance, that's exactly what you'll attract. Conversely, if you carry calm confidence, self respect, and authenticity, the people who match that energy will naturally gravitate toward you. Think of dating as a mirror. It reflects your inner state. So in 2026, before worrying about profiles, first master your own presence and energy. That's non negotiable. Let's talk about vulnerability, because this is where true connection begins and also where most people fail. Many fear being vulnerable because they equate it with weakness, but the opposite is true. Vulnerability is power. It shows courage, emotional strength, and authenticity. Sharing your feelings, your fears, your dreams in the right way allows someone to see the real you, and only the real you can create lasting intimacy. But remember, vulnerability must be paired with discernment. Share with someone who earns it, someone who respects it, someone who can meet it with equal openness. Now, consider the role of attraction versus compatibility. So often people mistake instant chemistry for long-term potential. Attraction can ignite a spark, but it cannot sustain a flame. Compatibility, shared values, aligned life goals, and emotional availability. That's what fuels a relationship over time. In 2026, don't be fooled by short-term excitement. Invest in long-term alignment, even if it feels slower or less flashy. The right person will match your vision, not just your momentary energy. Here's a critical insight: stop seeking perfection, start seeking alignment. Many people reject someone who has flaws, quirks, or imperfections, forgetting that perfection doesn't exist, and neither does flawless love. What matters is alignment in values, energy, and vision. The right partner will challenge you, grow with you, and complement your journey without undermining it. That's far more powerful than a surface level perfect connection. Now let's address the balance between patience and proactivity. In 2026, dating requires both. You cannot force connection, yet you cannot sit passively and expect magic to happen. You have to take action, initiate conversations, create experiences, show interest, but do so from a place of calm confidence, not desperation. Let your effort be purposeful, intentional, and aligned with your value rather than reactive or needy. That balance separates those who attract meaningful relationships from those who chase fleeting attention. And here's something subtle but transformative. The stories you tell yourself about dating shape your reality. If you believe all good people are taken or I'm unlucky in love, you'll act in ways that confirm those beliefs. Your thoughts create energy, and energy attracts experiences. In 2026, mindset is everything. Shift your internal narrative from scarcity to abundance, from fear to curiosity, from rejection to discovery. Once your mind changes, your dating life follows naturally. We also need to talk about boundaries in digital communication. So many people confuse constant texting or instant replies with interest. They overanalyze emojis, ghosting, and delayed responses. But here's the truth: consistent respect, attention, and clarity matter more than every little digital cue. If someone is worth your time, they will prioritize you, show up, and communicate transparently. If they don't, it's not a reflection of your value, it's a reflection of their alignment. Protect your attention. Don't chase digital approval, chase emotional resonance. Another key point: dating is not about proving your worth, it's about expressing it. Stop performing for approval. Stop bending to expectations. Stop trying to win someone over. The right person doesn't need convincing. They recognize your value naturally. In 2026, your job is not to convince anyone of your worth. Your job is to live it, embody it, and let the right people match your energy. Let's discuss emotional consistency versus excitement addiction. Many people fall in love with the thrill of pursuit, the chase, the drama, but not with the actual connection. In modern dating, the temptation of excitement over consistency is huge. But here's the difference: consistency builds trust, security, and long term intimacy. Excitement fades, reliability endures. Learn to value consistency over roller coaster highs. In 2026, emotional steadiness is far more attractive than momentary sparks. And now, the subtle art of listening versus responding. Too often, people date without truly listening. They plan their responses, anticipate arguments, or try to impress. But emotional connection grows when you listen to understand, not to reply. Every story shared, every emotion expressed is a chance to deepen intimacy. In 2026, mastery in dating includes mastering the ability to fully be present in every conversation, without judgment, without distraction, without ego. Finally, let's explore self growth as dating armor. The stronger, wiser, and more self aware you are, the less you will tolerate misalignment. Personal growth is magnetic. It attracts people who match your journey rather than your past insecurities. When you invest in your growth, dating becomes effortless because you no longer chase, you attract. Your growth becomes the filter through which you invite meaningful connections, filtering out those who aren't meant to stay. So, if there's one thing I want you to take away from all of this, let it be this: dating is never about chasing someone else. It's about becoming the person you want to attract, knowing your worth, and holding your standards unapologetically. When you value yourself, set boundaries, communicate with clarity, and honor your emotional energy, you don't just find someone. You attract the right person who complements your life, not complicates it. Remember, every interaction, every heartbreak, every joyful moment in dating is a reflection of your growth, your choices, and your energy. Stop settling for less than you deserve. Stop chasing validation. Stop compromising your peace. In 2026, dating becomes effortless, magnetic, and deeply fulfilling the moment you align with your own worth and refuse to accept anything less. So go forward with confidence, with self awareness, and with patience. Date with clarity, intention, and authenticity. And watch how the right connections naturally enter your life, not by luck, not by chance, but because you've prepared yourself to receive the love and respect you truly deserve.